fastest show in sports.
Yeah.
Mike and I have quite frankly decided that this show is going to be basically the unfettered, undisputed truth, because as we look around at sports talk these days, it is all bullshit. It is all people just sucking up to Disney and sucking up to ESPN and throwing out nonsense on social media. It's about time somebody got down to just telling the truth. I mean, that's all there is about sports these days. And we have managed to do it thus far and piss off a small amount of people. We are now looking to piss off even more people. We want more.
It's easy to, everybody wants to distinguish themselves because everybody's got a podcast these days. And I bet, and you said, you hit it on the head early on in this when you said, just be yourself, take the conversation where it will go. Well, where it's gone over time for us in just a couple of months is, there's so much homogenized crap out there, and every segment on every show feels like it's producer led. And here are the 5 questions you need to answer. Is MJ better than LeBron? Like, and even the ESPYs the other night. We can get into it, but it was, I worked for ESPN. They gave me a settlement. They had me. I loved working. I loved working with the people I worked with for a few years, and I love a lot of still people that work there. But there was something so cringy about even the opening that I was just kind of like, well, this is sports. People are supposed to have fun. And if you don't have fun, then you better get into the issues and get into them deep and get into them real, or nobody's going to pay attention anymore.
Well, that's just it. Everything these days in sports talk, whether it's podcast, radio, television, it makes no difference. It is all kissing the ass of someone somewhere and trying to fit a certain niche. It's like here we have, thank God Fox finally canceled FS1. A number of the talk shows on it. They were absolute nonsense because all it was, and look, it was people like Joy Taylor who was sitting there and trying to look her prettiest and trying to look the best that she can and trying to say something nice so that the young white males between the ages of 18 and 30 would be happy to see her and they would be happy to argue about absolute nonsense that's not based on anything that is a real issue in sports. And now, not only do we have Pat McAfee still sitting there spewing his absolute Gen X, Gen Z nonsense, now we've got them getting in bed with Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, who is just nothing more than somebody who's another fire starter. Here's a guy who loads up the flamethrower every day and tries to create something that is absolute nonsense. Mike, this goes back to what I said at the beginning, at the very first show we ever did. And you and I talked about it. It is the phrase I call contrived controversy. And you've just made it to where you said homogenized, which is basically what it is. But taking all this contrived controversy and trying to, again, and you've talked about it, those white males between the ages of 18 and 30 that, what's the word you use, manification? Or something
the manosphere. They're
manosphere.
Part of the manosphere. They everybody's sort of in this weird... Yeah, it's like this. It's backlash to actually decent society. You used to be a guy that now it's all women are evil. They're only supposed to be used as sperm receptacles. And by the way, I'm lonely and home in my mom's basement. Like, these are just miserable human beings. I don't want to be with them anymore. I don't want to be even part of them. If I acted like this when I was 18 to 30, I wouldn't have had the career I had. I mean, I just, people would have said, what a frat boy tool this guy is. He just doesn't get it.
Which is that's another great way to put it too, which is what a lot of sports talk has become these days. It is frat boy bullshit, where it is, can we talk more? And look, this goes down as well to Pat McAfee. McAfee, who had to make light of a young lady who was out there on social media, who was basically being trashed by everybody, and he just got involved in it. He had to get involved in it because it was clickbait. And that's the next thing. It is this, from places like FS1 and McAfee and Portnoy and Barstool Sports, it is clickbait frat boy nonsense that they've got to get involved in. So Mike and I have made this pact now with ourselves, with our guests, whatever. No more of this nonsense. Let's just, if we're going to talk about sports, let's try and bring it back to something that is, I mean, entertaining, but at least having some kind of meat to it, instead of having to worry about somebody posts something on Facebook or Twitter or X or TikTok that's all of a sudden titillating. And there's another word. We better be careful of that. If we use the word titillating in there somewhere, somebody will cut this and edit it, and we'll be in trouble again.
That's all, folks.